He is known for being a Czech theologian and philosopher who became a church reformer and the inspiration of Hussitism. He is recognized for his strong influence on the approval of a reformed Bohemian religious denomination and, over a century later, on Martin Luther. His name is Jan Hus. In the heart of Bohemia, in the late 14th century, a young boy named Jan Hus was born into a humble family. Determined to rise above his circumstances, he pursued a career in the priesthood. As he traveled to Prague, he found solace in music and devoted himself to his studies, earning a Bachelor of Arts degree and becoming ordained as a Catholic priest. But Hus's journey took a fateful turn when he began to question the teachings of the Catholic Church. He voiced his opposition to various aspects of the Church's practices, such as their views on ecclesiology and the sale of indulgences by the newly elected antipope John XXII. Hus's dissent did not go unnoticed, and he was excommunicated by a papal bull issued by Alexander V. Undeterred by his excommunication, Hus continued to preach his beliefs, garnering a loyal following and influencing the approval of a reformed Bohemian religious denomination. However, his outspokenness eventually caught up with him. When the Council of Constance convened to address the discord within the Church, Hus was summoned to present his views. Despite being promised safe conduct, he was arrested upon arrival and imprisoned. In the face of relentless pressure to recant his beliefs, Hus remained steadfast. When given the opportunity to renounce his teachings, he defiantly declared, "I would not for a chapel of gold retreat from the truth." His unwavering commitment to his convictions sealed his fate. On July 6, 1415, Jan Hus was burned at the stake for heresy against the Catholic Church. As the flames engulfed him, Hus's voice rose above the crackling fire as he sang psalms, leaving an indelible mark on the hearts of those who witnessed his martyrdom. In his dying moments, Hus prophesied that God would raise others who would continue his call for reform. Little did he know that his words would echo through the centuries, inspiring the likes of Martin Luther and laying the groundwork for the Reformation. Jan Hus, the courageous Bohemian theologian and philosopher, may have been silenced by the flames, but his legacy lived on. His followers, refusing to bow to Catholic authority, stood firm in their beliefs and fought against papal crusades in what would be known as the Hussite Wars. Though their rule was eventually overturned, the impact of Hus's teachings endured, shaping the religious landscape of Bohemia for centuries to come. Jan Hus, a renowned philosopher and theologian, was born in Husinec, southern Bohemia, around the year 1372. His birth date remains a subject of debate, but what is known is that he hailed from a humble peasant family. Interestingly, Hus took his name from the village where he lived, a common custom at the time. The name Hus itself means goose in Bohemian, and little did anyone know that he would later be referred to as the Bohemian Goose in a dream given to Frederick, the Elector of Saxony. As a young boy of around 10, Hus was sent to a monastery. The exact reason for this decision remains a mystery. Some speculate that it was due to the passing of his father, while others believe it was a result of his deep devotion to God. Regardless, Hus made a profound impression on his teachers with his dedication to his studies. Recognizing his potential, they recommended that he continue his education in Prague, one of the largest cities in Bohemia. In Prague, Hus found employment to support himself and gain access to the renowned Prague Library. He worked diligently and immersed himself in his studies. 3 years later, he was admitted to the University of Prague. While he may not have been an exceptional student, his passion and determination were evident. In 1393, Hus obtained a Bachelor of Arts degree, followed by a master's degree in 1396. It was during his time at the university that he encountered professors with strongly anti-papal views, which would greatly influence his future works. Despite his academic pursuits, Hus also served as a choir boy to supplement his income. His early life was filled with dedication to his studies, exploration of theological concepts, and a growing awareness of the power dynamics within the Church. Little did he know that these experiences would shape his future philosophy and become the foundation for his influential ideas. Jan Hus's early life exemplifies the importance of education, perseverance, and the pursuit of knowledge. His journey from a peasant family to the halls of academia showcases the transformative power of learning. Hus's commitment to his studies and his exposure to differing viewpoints laid the groundwork for his later philosophical contributions. His story serves as a reminder that our early experiences and the knowledge we acquire can profoundly shape our understanding of the world and our place within it. Jan Hus, a renowned philosopher and preacher, found himself at the center of a tumultuous period in history. Born in 1369, Hus's life and teachings would go on to shape the course of religious and philosophical thought in the 15th century. His journey began when he started teaching at the University of Prague in 1398, where he would soon encounter the ideas of John Wycliffe. In 1399, Huss publicly defended propositions of Wycliffe, sparking a wave of controversy. His students and faculty recognized his brilliance and appointed him as the dean of the philosophical department in 1401. It was during this time that Huss's passion for advocating the rights of the Czech people and the realists grew, heavily influenced by Wycliffe's writings. Despite the Church's ban on Wycliffe's works in 1403, Huss fearlessly translated and distributed his Trialogus in Czech. From the pulpit of the Bethlehem Chapel, Huss fearlessly denounced the moral failings of the clergy, including bishops and even the papacy. Surprisingly, Archbishop Zbynek Zajic tolerated his criticisms and even appointed Huss as a preacher at the clergy synod. However, in 1405, Pope Innocent VII instructed the archbishop to counter Wycliffe's teachings, particularly the doctrine of impanation in the Eucharist. The archbishop complied and issued a decree against Wycliffe, forbidding any further attacks on the clergy. Undeterred by the Church's disapproval, Huss continued to champion Wycliffe's ideas. In 1406, when two Bohemian students brought a document praising Wycliffe from the University of Oxford, Huss proudly read it from his pulpit. However, in 1408, Pope Gregory XII alerted Archbishop Zajic about the spread of Wycliffe's heresies and the sympathies of King Wenceslas IV of Bohemia for nonconformists. In response, the king and university ordered all of Wycliffe's writings to be surrendered for correction, and Huss complied, publicly condemning the errors within those writings. Jan Hus's philosophy and unwavering commitment to the truth had a profound impact on the religious landscape of his time. His teachings challenged the status quo and inspired countless individuals to question the authority of the Church. As we reflect on Hus's life, we can draw inspiration from his courage to speak out against injustice and his dedication to upholding what he believed to be true. In the early 15th century, Jan Hus found himself at the center of a theological and political conflict known as the Papal Schism. This schism arose when two popes, Gregory XII and Benedict XIII, both claimed authority over the Catholic Church. As the leader of the Czech nation at the Charles University in Prague, Hus found himself torn between loyalty to his king, Wenceslas IV, and his own convictions. Wenceslas feared that Gregory XII's interference in his plans to be crowned Holy Roman Emperor would disrupt his ambitions. In response, he demanded that the clergy and the university remain neutral in the schism. Hus, as the leader of the Bohemian nation, agreed to this neutrality, but tensions began to rise when Wenceslas summoned representatives from the university to pledge their allegiance. While the Czech nation agreed to the king's demands, the other three nations declined. This led to a change in the voting structure of the university, favoring the Czechs. Many German scholars and students left Prague, spreading accusations of Bohemian heresy. Meanwhile, the Council of Pisa attempted to resolve the schism by electing Alexander V as the new pope, but Gregory and Benedict refused to submit. Hus and his followers, along with King Wenceslas, transferred their allegiance to Alexander V. However, tensions continued to escalate as the Pope issued a bull empowering the Archbishop of Prague to crack down on the teachings of John Wycliffe, a prominent English theologian. Hus appealed to Alexander V, but his pleas fell on deaf ears. Wycliffe's books were burned, and Hus and his supporters were excommunicated. As the new pope, John XI proclaimed a crusade against Ladislaus of Naples, the protector of rival Pope Gregory XII. This crusade was preached in Prague, and it was during this time that Hus spoke out against the corruption of the Church and the sale of indulgences. He argued that true repentance, not money, was the path to forgiveness of sins. Hus faced opposition from the theological faculty of the university, who condemned his views as heretical. They demanded his obedience, but Hus remained steadfast in his beliefs, famously declaring, "Even if I should stand before the stake which has been prepared for me, I would never accept the recommendation of the theological faculty." Despite efforts by King Wenceslas to reconcile the opposing parties, no harmony was achieved. Hus insisted on the freedom of Bohemia in ecclesiastical affairs and the need for approval from the state power. The schism deepened, leading to further conflicts and exiles. Jan Hus's stand against the corruption and abuse of power within the Church continues to resonate today. His courage and commitment to his beliefs serve as an inspiration for those who face adversity and must stand up for what they believe is right. Hus reminds us of the importance of questioning authority and seeking truth, even in the face of persecution.
Do you want to explore more philosophers? Who do you want to see featured next? Subscribe and leave a comment below to let me know. I'll see you in the next video.